Alright, let's talk American Born Chinese Episode 1. Now, I'm not going by seasons because I know that this is based on a graphic novel, so I question whether they ever intended to do multiple seasons. With that, and the additional disclaimer of I never read that graphic novel, so try not to laugh too hard at me. But anyway, so it starts with these two people, one running away from another being that constantly shapeshifts. So they keep running until the very end, where there seems to be some kind of playfulish banter between the two, because the one in ahead stole this other being's staff, and the owner of the staff is like, you don't even know how to use my staff. So he attempts to use it and he goes flying, which at first you think, okay, well, first off, that's funny, but you think, okay, he didn't intend to do that. But it turns out, yeah, he kind of did, because he decides to what one would think would be suicide, but obviously this is a kids show, so definitely not going to happen. But he jumps through this what looks like a whirlpool in the clouds. And then we shift to Jin, and he is shopping with his mother, who tries to keep picking out things for him to wear and in the store, and Jin nixes everything. And to tell you the truth, I think she could have picked out the most awesome shirt and he would have still been like, no, because it's mom picking it out. He's a 10th grader. This is going to be his first year in 10th grade, so he's like 15, 16 years old. So definitely at the age where shopping with mom is so not cool. So he finds this jacket on this, good looking guy is wearing in the poster, and his mother laughs at him because it's too expensive. And she just finally gives up because he says no to everything, and she's like, fine, I give up. I'm just going to go buy milk. So he's waiting in the car because he initially thought that a hoodie was going to be nice, but then a girl, whom we find out is someone he likes, is making fun of it, because it says hot stuff. And when you have low self-esteem, so I totally identify with this kid. So when you have low self-esteem and the girl you like is making fun of something, now she could have been playfully making fun of it rather than mocking it. But when you're in that headspace, that doesn't occur to you. You just are like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't get this. So we see him later that evening with that jacket, which his mother wouldn't buy for him, and he's desperately trying to take off the security tag. So obviously he stole it. I wonder if we're going to get any consequences for him stealing it, but he's unsuccessful in removing the security tag. And he is listening to his parents arguing in Chinese, and all he can understand, or all he catches, is something about fried squid. And he doesn't know what's going on, just that he wants them to stop. You can see that it is really bothering him. So, next day, they go to school, and he has his mom drop him off before they get to the school because he's actually, ready to jump out of a moving car because he just can't handle his mother. So he gets to school and he seems uneasy. So when he sees a group of guys laughing, I thought that he was just, forcing himself into a conversation with just a random group of guys. It turns out he knows exactly who these guys are. They're his friends. So, he asks them, what are you guys laughing about? They tell him. And then this other guy who seems to be a part of the group as well is talking about soccer tryouts. And they suggest that Jin try out if he really feels like he could contribute. Even though they're kind of laughing about it, which this we're only on episode 1 and already I'm like, oh yeah. As if I needed a reminder of why I so hated high school and how much high school sucked. So Jin is walking to class after all of this, and he sees this kid desperately trying to open his locker. Which, I get it. I remember my first day of 7th grade, which I call the year from hell. And I couldn't get it to open to save my life. I just couldn't get it to work. So I get it. So Jin opens it for him. And the kid's just looking after him, it seemed like in awe. But based on what happens later, I think it was more of a gears turning moment. So he, I feel a sneeze coming on. So the next we see him, he's in biology class. He's talking to Amelia, who, she's surprised that he knows who she is, except for the fact that, she's the one who saw him in the dressing area wearing that hot stuff hoodie. And so Jin tells her how they know each other, that they went to the same elementary school, but then you did this, and this. It's like, that's not stalkery. That's not questionable behavior at all. But then we meet his teacher, who is trying hard to, I guess, be identifiable to the kids or something, because first he gives a bad joke, which one of the students calls him out on, that you shouldn't make fun of a woman's appearance. Now, granted, that is true. You shouldn't make fun of anybody's appearance, not just women. So that kind of irked me that, that it was specifically a woman's appearance. No, you shouldn't make fun of people's appearance. Especially if it's something that they can't do anything about. If this is how they like to present themselves, then that's fine. You can give helpful suggestions, because in this case it's his wife. But, anyway. So, he failed miserably with that joke. Then he failed miserably with another joke later on, but the principal comes in. And she wants to talk to Jin Wong. Now, can she get his name right? No, of course not, because this, at least this episode, is establishing how flippin' racist this area is. And this is supposed to be California. So maybe Northern California. I hear that there are pockets of red politics in that area. So maybe, but anyway. So she tells him that he's going to be, that this new kid, Wei Chun, is going to be shadowing him and learning the ropes of an American high school because he's originally from China. And so they have a lot in common. And Jin's like, we do. And of course, the implication is that they obviously must have everything in common because they're both Chinese. And he actually was quite nice about it, because I probably would have, I don't know if 16-year-old me would have done this, but adult me would say, and do you think that we have a ton in common because we're both white? It's so they go into class together, and by then Amelia's talking to some other kid. And Jin is just like, fuck my life. So then later on, he is in the cafeteria, and a bunch of guys are like, oh yeah, we're sitting over there, and Wei Chun's like, hi, over here. And Jin's like, oh god. So Travis comes up to him. It's like, oh, I didn't know you had a new friend, and that's great and everything. And they generally seemed surprised, and I think it's not so much that they were surprised. I think they were bummed, not because they were losing a friend, but that I guess they liked that they had control over Jin based on all that's happened and what this group seems to, the vibes this group gives me. I'm going to say that, they felt like, oh, we can't control him anymore. Yes, I think they're jerks and bullies. And based on what happens in this episode, they're not doing anything to dissuade me from that. So, Jin is trying really, really hard to, be polite, but yet be very terse and sort of give the impression of leave me the hell alone, which Wei Chun is not. Either he doesn't see it, or he's ignoring it. Either way. So he tells him that there are more books in this series, and I think it's a manga series, and he's like, oh, I guess it was the last 3 books weren't released in the US. Now, based on what we know of who he is in reality, makes me wonder if that's true, or if it's, which it could be. It could be that there are certain books that weren't released in the US for whatever reason. That's, that doesn't have to be a lie. But, or is it something that he knows that because of who he is, that nobody else does? But anyway, he's playing with this he's showing Jin this action figure because he also has a thermos with that picture. And so that gets Jin's interest, so at least he's starting to be a bit more cordial. And then it's time. Then I think we have another home scene, more arguing. Oh, wait, before we do that, yeah, more arguing. And he goes back to school. He sees Amelia, and like I said, at this point, he's wearing that new jacket, which, considering his mom gives him a ride and she didn't buy it for him, I'm going to say he put it on after he got out of the car, after she was gone, so she didn't know that he was wearing it. Because otherwise, yeah, why didn't she call him out on it? So, and of course, in the car, there's more awkward conversations between them. And he's always noticing that cloud that's in the shape of a whirlpool. But anyway, so he's talking with Amelia. He asks her out because Wei Chen suggested that why don't you ask the girl out that you like? And because Jin's like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, be a confident dude like me, which Jin called him. And so, based on this, I'm going to say, based on what we know of Wei Chun, hopefully he rubs off on Jin in a good way. So, he talks with Amelia. She shoots him down. She's like, yeah, we could hang out as buds. Which I didn't know is still said, but okay. Maybe this is a period piece. I don't know. So, he's bummed, but unlike today's men, he doesn't, make it all about her, that there's something wrong with her. He, acts like a human being, and, he's bummed that she said, just friends. And of course, if you're interested in someone to be told just be friends, I can see why that would be a bummer. But at the same time, at least she wants to hang out with you. So, you know. But, so, Wei Chun interrupts, and he's wearing the same jacket, which, oh yeah, that's going to get yourself in Jin's good graces. And so it's time for class, and he manages to walk in a door, and there's this whole series of bad things that happen to Jin. Kind of reminiscent of this popular show of the 90s called Beyond Repair, where the Asian character is the butt of the joke. And he has a ceiling fan fall on him, which I'll admit, when I first saw that, I laughed until I saw him lying like he was dead or something, and then I stopped laughing. So this happens, and he, and almost immediately, Wei Chun shows him at lunch. I think it's at lunch. This viral TikTok, because that's what it looked like. It was their version of TikTok of Wei Chun of Jin in this, overlaid with that meme of that actor getting a ceiling fan dropped on him right after he says what could possibly go wrong. So, and plus, wait, was it Wei Chun, or I think it was his friend, I think it was his friend, because Jin wants to renew his friendship with a boy and who looked like he was wearing Kiss makeup. And by Kiss, I mean the band. And Jin starts off by wanting to renew his friendship, and he's like, then suddenly he's defending the people who bullied his friend, saying that, oh, why can't you take a joke? And, it was a couple months ago. Fast forward to soccer practice, where um Travis makes fun of that meme. What could possibly go wrong? Of course, he makes fun of the accent. And so Jen thinks Travis was the one who posted that viral video. So when they are going to when they're doing their exercise of who can get to the ball first, he just breaks his nose. Which, on the one hand, I understand. I can't completely blame Jin. He thinks that this guy is making fun of him, this guy who's supposed to be his friend. On the other hand, maybe you want to wait till you know for sure. Because at this point, all we know is that he likes to make fun of other people's misfortunes. We don't know anything more. So the coach, tells him to leave. And then he sees Jin hit a soccer ball. And he's impressed. So, Wei Chun and Jin are sitting waiting for their parents, because we know Wei Chun is, well, I guess, based on what happens after this, maybe he was waiting for his father. So he first tells him what fried squid means. And he tells him, and he shows him, Jin is looking at that viral video of him that his friend showed him. And, so yeah, it's ironic that he claimed that his friend can't take a joke, and then he did that to Travis. So, which I'm not saying that Naj was in the wrong. He was definitely right to call out Jin for not standing up for his friend. Because, I remember what it was like to be in high school. I always stood up for my friends. Not necessarily myself, but my friends, I did. So, like I said, I see a lot of myself in Jin. So, he shows him the viral video, and Jin points out that, Wei Chun points out who it was who took the viral video, and it was the Captain Greg. So now I wonder if Greg is going to get his ass handed to him, or if he's going to use the old adage, which I was hoping Wei Chun would tell him, of revenge is a dish best served cold. Just don't let him know it's coming. And let something bad happen. But again, these are teenagers. Well, I think Wei Chun is a teenager. So, or he's the equivalent of a teenager considering who he is. So, Jin leaves, and Wei Chun sees an eagle flying by. So he knows exactly what that means. He goes back into the school, and his father is there. Now, can I just say, this happened in the Miss Marvel series as well. That we have these situations where the schools are completely empty when in all reality they would not be. So yeah. But anyway, his father confronts him and says, "You took my staff, why, just because you changed your appearance, why, you can't hide from me, why did you take it?" And he's like, "I had a dream." And he just, of course, gets mocked for it. "I had a dream about the fourth scroll, and I'm going to find it." And his father, like I said, mocks him, and they start fighting because he wants his staff back and he wants his son to come home. So they're fighting, and juxtapose this on Jin's parents fighting. And this time he now knows what they're fighting about. And he just can't take it anymore and just goes outside, tells them to stop, and goes back into his room. So finally the parents get a clue that, oh, by the way. But anyway, so the fight continues, and then Guinan comes in a flash of light and has them stop fighting. And the father's like, "But he's my son." And she's like, "Clearly." Oof, that's a nice little bit of shade, implying that he's just like his father. And so at some points it's like, wait, are they related somehow? But she refers to him as the boy, so probably not. So she does something to make the staff super tiny, like a toothpick, and Wei Chen puts it in his ear. Ew. And they walk off together, and his father walks off separately. And that's how the episode ends. Oh wait, before the episode ends, Jin is looking in his backpack, and he finds the action figure that Wei Chun gave him. There was even a note saying, that he has a present for him. And he does something, and it becomes obvious that it's a monkey. And the last thing we see is the monkey's eyes glowing. So, obviously, now I did look this up. So, Wei Chun's father is the Monkey King. I looked that up already. So, obviously, this is foreshadowing that Jin is going to help Wei Chun. And hopefully in the process will, figure out who he is and possibly stand up to the bullies that he thinks are friends. Or who knows, maybe the friends will chill the fuck out and realize that they're being jerks and to, stop. That you don't have to be a jerk. It's perfectly fine not to be a jerk. So, let's see if I'm missing anything from this episode. I don't believe so. I think I caught all the important moments. So, with that, I will see you in the next video.